Welcome back to the Relationship Mentors podcast. We are on episode 12. So in this episode, we are going to answer all of your questions. You guys have sent through your questions through Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure that you start following us so you can send in any questions that you do have and they'll be answered here on the podcast. So in today's episode, we're going to cover questions like, why am I anxious with some people but avoidant with other people? And how can I start working with my insecurities? And how to deal with an avoidant partner, plus so much more. So let's get straight into it and answer that first question of why am I anxious with some people but avoidant with others?
Amazing. So I'm anxious with people I like and avoidant with ones I don't feel a huge spark with. Why can't I just be chill with everyone? I feel like when I'm more on the avoidant side, I'm happier and less insecure and don't care mindset. It's much more freeing. I don't want to be insecure and anxious when I like someone. It's so funny. I'm anxious with people I like and avoidant with the ones I don't feel a spark with. You're anxious because you care. Something's important to you. If you didn't care about something, you wouldn't deem it as important, right? So it wouldn't mean anything to you. But because something means something, because you feel a spark, because you have something to lose, because you found someone that you feel a spark with, you've got chemistry with them, it's way more valuable and it's way more important than someone that you don't feel a spark with. So you're going to be avoidant towards the people you don't like, and the anxiousness is going to come up around the things that are important to you because you don't want to lose it. Maybe there's things in your past where you've felt abandoned in the past, or good people have left you, or someone broke up with you. And now it's like when something good happens, I need to hold on so tightly to them. And this is the anxious attachment style. Yeah, the main piece here is finding the root cause of why you're feeling like this. Like in the moment when you feel anxiousness towards someone, the first sign is, I like this someone. This is someone I want to continue with because there is a spark there, which means it's important. So reframe it, see it as a good thing, and then really find yourself in the moment when it comes up. Identify what the trigger is. It's like emotionally regulate yourself. What's the feeling that comes up? What's the trigger that created that feeling? And then reassure yourself, find out where that trigger came from, work through that shit so you can become more secure in your relationship. Like a great relationship will make you more secure. So it's about working through that process. When the triggers come up, what feelings are coming up? What actually triggered those feelings? How can I communicate my needs better in the future? So it's not a problem that you're being anxious or being avoidant. It's like, see that as a good thing. If I'm anxious towards someone, it's like, that means it's important. That means I like this person. And then you're just working through your stuff. Like your relationship's the ultimate form of personal growth. So whenever stuff comes up, you just work through it. You better communicate, you emotionally regulate yourself, and you get better and better.
That's really great. Like on top of that, I have a question for you. Do you believe that she could be getting anxious because she's actually excited for the potential in the future, and she gets avoidant? She mentioned that she gets avoidant when she doesn't really feel a spark with someone. Do you think her avoidant is actually just her not being interested in them potentially?
Yeah, it's just signs from your body. Like learn to listen to your body. Sometimes, like I speak to a lot of clients, and if they go dating, they're like, this person ticks all the boxes. They are like perfect on paper, exactly what I want. I just don't feel anything towards them. I don't want to organize another date. I'm not excited to see them. When they message me, I just don't care. It feels like a chore to message them back. And it's like, at that point, just listen to your body. It's like, maybe this is coming up for a reason. Maybe this isn't your person. And sometimes it's on this energetic, spiritual level where it doesn't make sense in the logical, material world, but on some level, this person isn't the one for you. So I definitely feel like if that is coming up, it's coming up for a reason, right?
Yeah, so true.
How can I stay more open to my partner in my relationship? This was sent in from a guy. So how does it feel like as a girl if your guy's closing you out almost?
I don't know if I'm just going straight to like a coaching mentor side of it. It was like what I see a lot of the time is simply men and women not understanding how the other person communicates or how their brain works. Like men and women both think differently and they both operate differently. And a lot of the time, what I find in relationships is that they don't understand how the opposite sex thinks works. And a lot of the time, what we see, especially from a man's point of view, is when their lady is bringing up any like sadness, anger, frustrations, the man automatically shuts down and takes it personally as if he's being attacked by her, that she's accusing him that you're not doing this and you're not doing that, rather than hearing that all she's actually saying is that she feels a certain way. She's not blaming you in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
It's like there are some couples where they communicate of you're doing this and you're doing that, but that's not effective communication, and that's toxic in that type of language. However, a lot of the time, if it is a healthy communication and a conversation that is healthy and beneficial, it is simply the lady explaining how she feels. This happened and it made me feel like that. She's not saying you've done this and you're making me feel this way and you're terrible and you're not worth it. That's a dynamic that I see happen a lot, that men take an additional meaning to what their lady's actually saying.
And learning the difference between masculine and feminine communication. Women use words to convey a feeling. Not even women, like the feminine communication style, which both men and women can access. The feminine communication style uses words to convey a feeling. So it's about the feeling behind the words. But masculine communication style looks at every single word to figure out what the exact problem is and who's to blame. What do I need to fix? What do I need to improve upon? What did I do wrong? Like, this is what a lot of men look at within communication, where it's like the woman just wants to feel heard. The woman wants to feel reassured. The woman asks the man for things, but all the man sees is, what can I do right now? What can I fix? Rather than seeing what the woman actually wants. And it comes down to both sides, like women being more clear about what they're actually wanting and men hearing the feeling behind the words.
Yeah, especially it's like for more practical, you ask, how can I stay more open to my partner in the relationship? One, of course, the first step is understanding how the opposite sex works and communicates, as well as hearing the words that are actually said, because sometimes men can feel like, oh, I need to fix this problem, rather than hearing her and she's just expressing her feelings. And the best thing that you can ask is just, how can I support you in this? Or what would you like from me in this moment? So like, trust me, those like two questions, like that one question can be so impactful, because sometimes you may communicate, I just need you to hear me, or I just need to feel heard. Or
I just want a hug.
Yeah, or I just want a hug.
Yeah, men can really jump to the case of, I want you to feel okay. I want to fix this so much. Like, I love you so much that I would do anything for you right now. And they just jump to the conclusion of what's the most extreme thing I can do right now. And sometimes the woman's like, I just want to speak. I don't want a solution. I don't want you to fix it. I just want to express myself. I want to get it out of my system, and then that'll make me feel way better. So stop, emotionally regulate yourself so you don't shut down or get defensive. Actually listen to your partner, be able to hold that and ask, how can I support you right now? What do you need from me right now? And then that actually puts it back on the woman of being like, this is actually what I want right now. And that can be so, like, doing that every time something comes up with your partner will benefit the relationship so much.
And it helps you guys have a much better, like, clearer communication. So like, you're not assuming what she wants, and she's not assuming that you know exactly what to do in this situation. It opens up the conversation to be very clear and more effective.
It's such an issue that comes up in relationships. I speak to a lot of women, and it's always the man is shutting down when I ask something. And from the woman side of things, a man wants to feel capable and he wants to feel like he's doing a good job. So if you come to him with a tone of blame, then he's going to shut down straight away because he doesn't want to feel like shit, and you're making him feel like shit. So speak nicely to him. Like, men are sensitive, no matter how unsensitive we can be sometimes.
Stoic, you guys seem.
Yeah, like, men are sensitive. We want to know we're doing a good job. So when you approach your man, say, babe, I love when you do X, Y, Z, and you make me feel da, 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 da. And I would love if you did this. I would love if you made me feel like this, if you did this for me. So like a feedback sandwich in a way, rather than coming across with a tone of blame.
That was great. Love that.
Next question. How old are you both? Nice, easy one.
I was so used to like relationship questions.
Big,
and I'm like,
deep questions.
I am 25, so my birthday is the 4th of January, and I was born in 1999, so I've already had my birthday this year.
Oh, you already had your birthday?
Oh, it was nice.
I am 27 years old. I'm born on. Why do you go to your birthday? 30th of August, 1996. Jesus.
Because I say it's like I'm 25 this year, and I've already turned
Australians
that. So
always say that. Like, how old are you? I'm turning 26.
Yeah, you're.
So you're 25.
Yeah,
so many Australians are like that. It's like, how old are you? They'll never say how old they are. They say how old they are on their next birthday.
I didn't realize that was an Australian thing because
nowhere else does that.
The fact that you explained your age, I'm like, no, but you're turning 28 this year.
Yeah.
But I think can't speak for all Australians, but this is my perception of it. Is that it's like, how old are you in this year? That's how we take the question. Like, how old are you? It's like, oh, this year I am 25. So that's why.
Interesting.
And it's like, how old are you? Okay, well, you're turning 28 this year.
Yeah, if I was to answer that question in an Australian way, it'd be like, how old are you? I'm turning 28 in August. Rather than I am 27. It's so backwards. Amazing, that's how old we are.
There you go.
Next question. My problem is I don't know how to make the conversation interesting. So many couples don't have things to talk about, right?
Yeah.
They just sit there and they just talk about the same stuff over and over again. It gets so boring that they don't even want to start a conversation anymore.
Yeah, you said something really good this morning, saying it's like, stop trying to be interesting and be interested. Do you want to dive more into that?
Yeah, that's in How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. It's a super famous book. I recommend everyone read it. And it's all about being interested in the other person rather than trying to be interesting. So find out about your partner. There's so many things that you don't know. Like, we'll drop a link below to a guide and it'll have 33 questions on it. All around conversation starters with your partner. And the biggest thing is find out about their past. It's like, who made the person that's sitting in front of you today? Like, what made them the way they are? What are all the interesting things from the past? What was the hardest moments in your life? What was the thing you're most proud of? What was the biggest challenge in your life? What are you most excited about for the future? What are your values? What are your goals? What's your favorite conspiracy theories? It's like, really be interested in your partner. Find out all these things. And another piece on this is do more shit for yourself. Yeah. Like, be more of an interesting person. Have things to talk about. Like, if you're just doing the same thing every single day, you're going to run out of things to talk about. But if you actually go out, experiment, do shit, fuck around and find out, and then you can bring those experiences back to your partner and be like, oh my God, I did this today. Oh, I started this random conversation with this person. So, like, push yourself every day.
Exactly. And it's like, share your thoughts as well. It's like Charlie and I share each other's thoughts that we have throughout the day with each other. And going back to the questions as well, it's like Charlie said, we have free resources of questions to ask your partner to build deeper intimacy and get to know your partner better. But not only the free resources, if you just follow us on Instagram, there are so many reels that we post with the captions are giving you questions to ask your partner. It's very direct and like very, very clear. So always, if you're running out of questions, just look at our Instagram captions and there's always so many questions.
Even Mia and I do that sometimes. We just sat there like, let's go to Instagram. I go to my Instagram, go to the caption, and there's like 15 questions to be closer to your partner. And we just ask each other them. It's like, that's great.
And the thing is like, we've been together for so long. However, it's like we develop more as human beings. So it's like the person I was at the beginning of the relationship, it can be slightly different. Of like, my ideas and my thoughts and my values have evolved since then because I've discovered more of myself and got clear more on who I am and the values that I stand for and things like that. So you can always come back around and ask the same questions that you asked ages ago or just the other week because we're constantly evolving.
Exactly. Yeah, we have relationship check-ins every week and the answers are always different. Every single week, the answers are different. So it's like the same questions will get different answers. Amazing. Next question. How you can work with your insecurities, but at the same time having to spend time with partner. How can you work with your insecurities, but having to spend time with your partner at the same time? Do you want to go into this, or do you want me to? I
think just like hearing that, I just have questions of like, what type of insecurities are coming up? Are you insecure when you're? Yeah, I just have questions from that question.
Yeah, that's the thing with Instagram questions. There's only like 3 sentences you're allowed to get in. So with insecurities in a relationship, the main part is you can use your relationship as the greatest form of personal growth. because it reveals all your triggers. It's such a mirror that reflects back to you everything that you don't like about yourself, all the frustrations, how you can be impatient, how you hate how they wash up, how you have to have things a certain way, the things that annoy you the most, the things that make you sad, the things that make you insecure. They are all going to come out in your relationship. So your relationship is the greatest form of personal growth because it reveals this stuff. And you can't work on things that you're unaware of. So it's about, in the moment, in the relationship, emotionally regulating yourself with insecurities, working through them, and then doing that over and over again, getting better at the practice of doing that until you become secure.
Yeah, and also another great thing that you said this morning as well was like certain things, I think you said it was like fear or something, when it's brought to light, it no longer has
shame,
shame. When you bring it to light, it
no longer exists, yeah.
It no longer exists. So
it only exists in the dark.
I think it can be a very similar thing with insecurities, of just addressing it with your partner, and potentially whatever you were insecure about, your partner can reassure you with as well.
Absolutely. It's such a thing in relationships, like we mentioned before, and around the shame. Shame can only exist in the dark. And your insecurities a lot of the time only exist in the dark. When you bring it up, you're like, this made me feel insecure. And your partner can reassure you in that. God, it makes you feel so much better. Like a weight is lifted. It's like, I can be my complete self. I can heal through this thing. I'm not crazy. So it'll make you feel way better.
Yeah, it's like I can't think of any exact examples off the top of my head, but I know there's definitely been times when I felt insecure about something, whether it be action or how I felt or certain things, and I bring it up to Charlie, and he's like, oh, I had no idea. I never even noticed. It was so out of my awareness. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was such a big deal. So yeah, definitely just bringing it up to your partner to see how they can help out with that as well.
Amazing. Next question. How to trust your fiance after he has cheated?
Okay, I can go to this one. So cheating is such a interesting dynamic, right? Because there can be several different reasons why people cheat and how you can overcome cheating in the relationship. Just because someone cheats doesn't mean it's the end of the relationship. Potentially there could have been a spark, or they're wanting this thrill, or they're not feeling important in some area of their life, so they're seeking that thrill and excitement outside of the relationship. But the question is, how can I trust my fiance again? So within the trusting part, by the sounds of it, the act has happened and you've decided to stay together, then from here on out, it needs to be a fresh start in the relationship. He's needing to also help you rebuild the trust. It is up to him and it is up to you to forgive him. Like, I'm sure he would feel shame and hurt by it. It's such an interesting fact that
both people feel like shit from it. Yeah.
It's like a lot of the time when cheating does occur in the relationship, the receiver that finds out the person that has been cheated on feels hurt. They feel all these certain emotions. However, a lot of people don't realize that the cheater themselves also hold so much shame and resentment and hatred towards themselves a lot of the time because of it. And that's something that is not really talked about much, because no one really openly speaks about, hey, I've cheated on this person and now I feel ashamed and embarrassed and I hate that I hurt the person that I love so much. Because someone can love you and still disrespect the relationship in those moments because they're seeking internal validation somewhere and they're experiencing that externally in those moments.
Yeah, and I jumped on a coaching call with this couple and they'd both broken each other's trust previously in the relationship. And they were both feeling guilty about it. They were both feeling hurt. They were both feeling shitty about it. And it's really about, cool, this is a new relationship from here forward. Humans are dumb. Humans do things that aren't in their best interest. Like all humans want to be healthy, but 50% of people are obese. We don't always do what's best for us. Humans want to love their partner. They want to be loyal to their partner, but they don't always do what's best for them. So it's about forgiving the old relationship and forgiving the old behaviors, but also seeing the patterns that created that behavior. Because it wouldn't have just been randomly, the relationship's great, and then he cheats on you. There's like signs in the relationship that led him to the point of wanting to cheat. There's stuff that happened where you felt disconnected. You weren't having sex for months. You were arguing. He had stress from work, financial stress. His family was giving him stress. He just needed a release. He needed to do something. He was in the same pattern. He was hating his life. And then he slept with someone else. It's never just, my relationship's great, then I sleep with someone else. There are so many signs that lead up to that. And there's so many different types of betrayal as well. It's not just sleeping with someone else. There's like 8 types of betrayal. Like lying is a big one. A lot of men will lie to their partner. A lot of men will lie to their girlfriend just so he doesn't upset her even more. Like it's with good intention, where a guy will lie to his girlfriend so it doesn't upset her anymore. This could be about like ex-partners or who they just saw or things like that. But it's like, if they find out that you were lying, they're going to question everything else in the relationship, and it's just so not worth it.
The trust is still broken in those moments.
Exactly.
And also, still on that topic as well, from the girl's point of view or whoever, the guy's point of view, whoever is the one that's finding out that their partner has cheated, the thing is, you do not need to know the nitty-gritty details. It's like there's a part of you that really wants to know exactly what happened, like how did this start, probably how it initiated is probably what you do need to know of, like why they seeked it out in the first place. Like the core root of an issue is the only reason that you need to know. Any small little details, honestly, you do not need to know, because it's just hurting you more. It's not benefiting you or the relationship at all in the long run or in the present time. And it's like there is a part of you that really wants to know, and it's like it's just not going to benefit you.
So in terms of building trust, deciding the relationship's new from here on out, fixing the things that happened in the past. When you need reassurance, ask for it. Your partner needs to learn how to reassure you, to emotionally regulate yourself, to not take it as a blame, to not feel shit about himself all the time. He needs to build his self-worth back up, not see himself as a piece of shit. You need to love him. Don't hold it over his head. Like if you decide to stay with someone who has cheated on you and you use that as ammunition for the rest of your relationship and you have no intention of overcoming it, then that's toxic from your side. Like you need to forgive him and start that process and ask for reassurance when you need it. So important.
So yeah, just really, really important that one, don't hold it over their head. It's like you both have decided to move forward with this. You cannot use it as ammunition. You both decided to forgive him or her, whoever the person was. And just knowing that healing and learning to trust them again takes time. So on both of their ends, it's, for example, if the guy was the one that cheated, it's the girl's responsibility to address when an insecurity comes up again and communicate that of, hey, I'm feeling this way at the moment. And then it's the guy's responsibility to reassure her and remind her how much he loves her. And like it's his responsibility to reassure her. It's not his responsibility to be like, I've already told you I love you. When are you going to get over it?
Yeah.
Like,
so many men are like, oh, why is she still bringing it up?
Yeah. It can take months. And if you've broken that trust in the relationship and you have decided to stay in the relationship, it is your responsibility to be patient in those times and reassure your partner. And from the lady's point of view, if you decide to stay, which a lot of relationships actually do decide to stay when cheating occurs, it's actually more common to stay with the partner than to actually break up. It is your responsibility to not hold it over their heads, start the relationship again, and communicate when any insecurities come up healthily.
Amazing. And if he continues to cheat and doesn't change his behavior, leave him.
Yeah.
So many people decide to stay in a shit relationship where they get treated shit rather than be alone. It's very sad. Next question. What's the best way to deal with an avoidant partner? Anxious people always find avoidant people. Crazy.
It's the most like common duo, I think.
It's like, why? I think like avoidant people love feeling chased. So they pick anxious people by love bombing them at the start. So they have their attention and then they get to be chased the whole relationship. I feel like that's what happens. I'm still trying to work it out. Like so many couples I speak to, it's like, I'm anxious, he's avoidant. I'm like, why the fuck would you start this relationship?
It's a very common dynamic.
So
and
common.
It is fine. Like relationships with an anxious and avoidant partner do work.
Oh, 100%.
I just have this picture in my head of like the anxious person and then the anxious person and the avoidant person, and they're just like dancing and then run away and then just like tag you and then run away. A little bit of attention and run away.
Yeah, the avoidant's like, I'll give you a little bit of love and I'll run away and play games with you.
Yeah.
So coming back to the root of it, everyone wants love at the end of the day. The anxious person wants love in a different way to the avoidant person. The avoidant person doesn't want to be hurt, so they don't want to fully go into this relationship in case they get hurt. They could have had times in the past where they did feel hurt. They don't want to feel smothered. They like their alone time. And for an anxious person, this can be really triggering, and they can take it as rejection. So the main thing around anxious people is have the awareness that your partner maybe just needs alone time, doesn't want to feel smothered, doesn't want to feel consumed by you. They want their own life, and that's okay. Don't take it as rejection.
It's also getting clear on what your strategy is, right? So for example, if we're talking about conflict, if you are having conflict with an anxious person and an avoidant person, for example, an anxious person a lot of the time in conflict would want to stay and talk about it and make sure it's resolved straight away because they don't like feeling anxious in the moment. They want to make sure that the relationship's good and safe, while the avoidant most of the time will actually need to leave the house or go into a different room and process their emotions and get clear on what they want to say and then come back. Normally an avoidant person won't want to come back in and have that conversation and resolve the conflict because they're like, if I don't have to, they're just avoidant. They
just want to sleep it off, honestly.
Yeah. However, if you're in a dynamic where there is an anxious person and there is an avoidant, it is the responsibility for both of you to communicate those strategies that you have with dealing with conflict. So for an anxious person, they want to sit in the conversation and communicate it until everyone feels better. And the avoidant person wants to run away and probably deal with their emotions, but then not come back to the conversation. So it's in those times when you're having conflict that the avoidant person can say, hey, right now I just need time to process it myself. And then being in that partnership and in that team, allowing your partner to remove themselves from the situation, get clear on their emotions and how they feel. But then it's up to the avoidant person to come back into that conversation and initiate that conversation if they've left to handle the conflict.
So many, I'm going to say men because I spoke to a lot of couples and he thinks if we sleep on it, it's all good. It goes away. We'll just avoid it and the problem will go away. Then the woman or the anxious partner can be like, I'm still wanting to solve this. This is not solved. And he's like, oh my God, can we just move on? But it's like, nah, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's actually make this work. Let's fix it so it doesn't come back in the future. And then you'd be way better partnership. Yeah. So in terms of what's the best way to deal with an avoidant partner? These questions are so short that we need way more context, but the best way is telling him what you need, not in a blaming way. So if you put pressure on him, if you try and question him or control him or put too much pressure on him, he's going to run away, right? So you need to treat it like, do you know when you sit in your driver's seat and you pull the seatbelt down, if you pull it too fast, it gets jammed. So you need to pull it like really slow, like come on. You need to like encourage it to come slowly. Treat it like, that's a random analogy that popped into my head.
Walking across the road with a kid, come on, sweetie.
Yeah. So it's like, don't question him, don't control him, don't put too much pressure on him, but just communicate what you need rather than what he's not giving. Don't blame him. Don't make him feel like shit. Just make him feel safe, make him feel secure, and then tell him what you need.
Yeah.
Next question. How do you inspire him to make more effort in planning a date? God, 90% of questions we get from women. It's such a thing, isn't it?
Because we find that women are the ones that actually are putting in the effort to improve their relationship.
Yeah, on a side note of that, men don't do anything to fix the relationship until she decides or she threatens to leave, right?
Or decides to leave. Sometimes if you threaten them enough, they'll know that you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Some men are like, oh, she says this every week. She's never going to leave. And then she actually does. He's like, all right, I best do something about this relationship then. It's like, maybe you should have done that earlier.
Most of the questions that I get from men, it's like when their partner has left that morning. Like, oh, everything was fine. And then suddenly she's left and she's not coming back. And I'm like, there's definitely more that's happened than she didn't decide just to leave one morning.
Oh yeah, she just randomly walked out the door. So how do you inspire him to make more effort in planning a date? How do you inspire a man?
I'll give my opinion, and then you can give the man's opinion of if that would actually work or not.
Try me.
From my perspective, it's like, how would I inspire him to make more effort in planning dates? One is like, a man just wants to make you, they want to make you happy. They want to make sure that their partner is happy and that they're a good boyfriend.
They want to feel like they're doing a good job, right?
Yeah, it's like men in their masculinity, they want to show you how capable they are. So it's talking to him and saying like how much you love going on dates, and then talk about the past dates that you've gone on and how much you love them. It's all that positive reinforcement. Like, I loved when we went to this restaurant and we had this particular food, and wasn't it so yum, and it was so nice for us to get dressed up and just to really connect with you in a social environment. Or this adventure was really, really fun. I think like really having that positive enforcement. It's like, I would love if we did that like once a week, or I love if we had like one really special date once a month, or doing those little things. So I just see it as like a positive reinforcement, and telling him how much of a good job he's doing and reinforcing that how capable he is and how happy he makes you when he does this. So he would then be more inclined to do that more because that makes him happy.
Yeah. Sometimes I explain it to couples like, treat it like you're training a dog. It's like, instead of punishing him for doing the bad, reward him for doing the good. So tell him what you want rather than telling him what you don't want. It's such an important difference. And yeah, women, you can put a plan in place that every single week you sit down and you make it happen, where you plan out the week ahead. You plan out what you want to happen. You can even plan a date sometimes. Like, you can take the initiative in the relationship. It doesn't have to be him that plans a date. And yeah, it's so nice when the man plans the date and he takes the lead and he takes you on this adventure. It makes you feel so nice. But sometimes he's so unaware and he gets wrapped up in his head. He's so busy in work. He hasn't got time. He's trying to stay fit. He's trying to catch up with mates. He's trying to make you feel great. It's like sometimes it just doesn't come to his mind that he needs to plan a date. And then a month's gone past, you haven't been on a date, you're angry at him, where you could have been like, hey, I've booked this thing on Thursday night. I know you don't do anything on Thursday night, so let's do this. And then, yeah, start making plans together.
That's great.
Yeah. Amazing. Should I be worried if my boyfriend hasn't said I love you to me 15 months in? Yes.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah.
I don't know. That is a bit weird, hey? I said I love you before you said.
Yeah. I was like, wow. The first time Charlie said I love you, I didn't know if he meant I love you or like he just loved the person I was.
That is such a woman's thing to say.
Because it was like he said I love you, and then he said all the things that you loved about me, which I thought, it's like, and I think I was sad at that moment. I don't
You feel insecure about something, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And so I just, when you're with your friend and you're like, but I love you. Like, I love when you do this and I love when you do that. Or like, I love this about you. I think that's how I perceived it. And then I was like, oh, I remember telling my friend, I'm like, oh, he said I love you, but I don't know if it was actually to me.
In this case, it's like,
okay,
15 months in, you just got to straight up.
The question is,
like,
why?
Do you want to be with me? Are we committed? Is he 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Is he treating you like shit? Is he keeping you there just to have you as a last resort? So you need to be straight up, be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, are we committed? Are we a thing? Is this something I want? Rather than just waiting and being passive about it.
Yeah, because there's such a thing as, one, yes, it's not a good sign if he hasn't said I love you in those 15 months. The reason is why hasn't he said I love you? Is it because are you guys just in a relationship for the meantime? And that's okay. Some people are in a relationship just for the meantime. However, it's only okay if both of you are only in the relationship for the meantime. Like, if you're in the relationship for the long run and like you're wanting to be with this person and have a longevity with them, and they also want the same thing, then why wouldn't you say I love you? Like, why wouldn't you love, of course you'd love the person that you're wanting to spend the rest of your life with.
So in terms of being worried about it, I would ask the question, I would make sure he's committed in this relationship rather than just keeping you on the side.
What would you say? Because I could just imagine.
The woman hearing this and be like, cool, I'm going to go tell him.
Yeah, I would, but then him responding with, I just don't like the L word. Not that I've heard a guy say that before, but I could imagine a guy saying like, it's just a word.
Be like, well, I want to hear it to make me feel reassured.
Yeah, like
it's you asking for what you want.
Me.
Amazing, it's not important to you. Cool, it's important to me. Would you mind if you said it once in a while? So it's like really asking for what you want.
And not even saying once in a while. Maybe you want to hear it every day, or maybe you want to hear it every week, because maybe he'll say it once and then 3 months later.
Yeah, exactly.
So
ask him, same woman, can large age gap relationship last and be successful? Yes, it can work. Say if your husband's, you got to be at the same stage of life, the same values. The concepts are the same, but with age gaps, there is a higher chance of you being at different stages of life. Say if you're 30 and you feel your body clock move and you really want kids, and your partner's 60, he's had 3 kids. They're all in their 30s and they've moved out of home already. It's like, maybe he doesn't want more kids and you're dying for kids. It's like, that's not going to work. So the same concepts apply of being at the same stage of life, and you can 100% make it work. But it's just like making sure of that, right?
yeah, it's like one of the biggest reasons why age gap relationships do break up is because of what Charlie said. It's like, if you guys grew up in a different generation where both of you will see the world differently because of it, and if the age gap is quite significant, it's the way that you guys view the world could be too drastic that you don't have enough things in common for the long run of the relationship.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, not a crazy age gap. Like, I don't know. It can work. Everyone's so different, hey?
It can, we've always said, or like what I've always said, any relationship can work if 2 people want it to work. If you're both wanting to work and you're both putting in the effort. Age gap relationships, you do see it. They do have a great relationship, and other times it's just a fling. Other times they don't have enough in common with values, the way they see the world, as well as the way that they believe the world is. If their childhood was too different set in a different generation, it can really affect the views and values that they have.
If your man grew up in World War II and you're growing up with TikTok, it's going to be a bit different. Amazing. I think that's the last question.
Amazing.
If my boyfriend broke up with me 2 weeks ago because we want to go to another country but alone, we love each other, and he told me he was not my fault, and he said that maybe he will regret about the decision, what I should do, accept his decision or try to go back with him? Okay. English isn't the first language, but I would say, you go first.
My brutal opinion would be
dump his ass.
It's like, don't chase him. He's told you that he doesn't want to be with you, like in like the blatant, like just very clear way possible. He said that he doesn't want to be with you. He wants to end the relationship so he can go solo traveling and have a completely fun time without having to think or consider you in that time. So it's like, he's told you that he doesn't want to be with you, and when a man or a lady says, I do not want to be in a relationship with you anymore, don't go and chase that person.
It's the worst thing you can do for your self-worth.
One more thing. It's like, something that we preach all the time is communicate what you want, and then like communicate exactly what your needs are, what you expect, and then when your partner tells you what they want, and clear as day what they want, believe them. Don't be like, you don't mean that. You still want me. I'm going to chase you. That's my opinion.
No, you're lying. You do want me.
Don't be silly.
Yeah, don't be crazy. You're just crazy talk.
Crazy.
It's amazing how many people will do that in a relationship. The partner's like, I do not want to be with you. Breaking up with you. And then they're like, I know he doesn't mean it though. Like, I'm just going to keep following him until he changes his mind.
Yeah, and on that note as well, sometimes it can be the illusion because he doesn't say clearly the exact words, I no longer want to be with you. I no longer want to have a relationship with you because I want to go have fun overseas and potentially have the potential to meet other girls and talk to other girls and not be cheating or whatever. It's like, because they don't say those exact words, they also say like, but I still love you and who knows, I may regret it. a lot of the time they only say things like that is because they still want you like on a tab. Like, I want to go experience my life, but if my whole life, like if my whole life turns upside down, I still know that I could come back to you just in case.
Yeah.
It's like, you never want to be that just in case girl. It's like they're taking you as like, if I could have anyone better than you, I'm going to take her. But if everyone, if I just screw up every single relationship.
Covering their losses, aren't they?
Yeah.
And aiming, no risk. Behavior is a language. People often speak with their actions, not their words. And if they're deciding something that obviously is disrespectful, then watch that instead of just hearing what they say. Yeah. Amazing. That is the questions. If you have questions for us, we're going to do one. This is 4 episodes after the last one, and we release one every single week. So that's one Q&A podcast per month. I think it's a good thing. Yeah. So any questions you have for us, follow us on Instagram, send us messages there. It can be completely anonymous and we'll get those answered. And if you want help with your relationship, if you want help with your specific situation, if you want an outside opinion on your relationship, in the show notes below, there'll be a link where you can book a free 30-minute call so we can look over your situation, see what the challenge is and what you can do moving forward. Amazing.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.